I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go. Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining. I pressed live just a little early. Thank you all so much for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about a hearing that I missed. So, this was one of the pretrial hearings to rule on certain motions. So, the defense attempted to limit some of the digital evidence that came into the trial. It's my understanding, and y'all can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. It's my understanding that how the law enforcement learned of the messages, all the searches and everything that were done on the laptop was because the laptop synced with the iPad, with one of the kids' iPads. That was how all of this happened. And I think the defense wanted to limit how that could be used. And so there is a hearing. We are not going to watch the entire hearing, but we are going to watch the parts that were the most interesting to me. And because they start out with talking about Brian's mom and how initially how their thoughts on how cooperative she was or was not being. Let me see. Normally when I press share screen, it gives me options. Hey, it's being extra today. So it's being weird. Okay, so let me work out technology and make sure that it shares. There we go, good. I hadn't clicked the next button. It's one of those days. Right. If y'all have questions as we go, please let me know. Please make sure to check out. I went on Courtroom Confidential yesterday and I had a blast. You all loved. So Courtroom Confidential crew, and I know there were psych nerds in there. You all loved the scarf. I wore it again because I couldn't talk about it as much. Josh Ritter has a phenomenal channel, and I try to be super duper professional. So we will talk about that towards the end of the video. I won't squirrel as much at the beginning. So an officer is going to get on the stand and talk about how they came into how their investigation went to discover some of the electronic data. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. You may proceed.
I'm going to turn closed captions on, and also we'll start at normal speed. I'm probably going to speed it up to 1.25.
Sir, could you state your name and spell your first and last name, please? Yes, sir. My name is Yuri Buchanek, spelled Y-U-R-I-Y, last of B-U-K-H-E-N-I-K. Where do you work, sir? I work for the Massachusetts State Police, currently assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. How long have you been with Massachusetts State Police? I graduated the academy in March of 2012. And how long have you been attached to the detectives unit with the District Attorney's Office? 10 years. And what is your current rank? I'm a sergeant. And how long have you been a sergeant within that unit?
Maybe I already have it. I already have it at 1.25. Like, this sounds fast. It's already at 1.25. Let me know in the chat if I need to slow it down. The live viewers are who get the first word.
Since December of 2021. So I'm going to ask some questions now about January 5th of 2023, Thursday. That day, did you have the opportunity to be dispatched to Cohasset? Yes. Why were you dispatched to Cohasset? Cohasset police detectives reached out to our office requesting assistance in investigating a missing person case. What was the name of the person you researched that you were asked to help find? The person's name was Anna Walshe. About what time did you get to Cohasset PD that day?
Understand.
It was in the late afternoon. I would say approximately 4:45 or so. And did anyone else besides you, that's a member of the State Police Detectives Unit with the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, respond to Cohasset that evening? Yes. Who else? Trooper DeChico. And once Trooper DeChico and you were at the Cohasset PD, who did you have the opportunity to speak with? I spoke with Detective Harrison Schmidt of Cohasset PD. And what was the purpose of this meeting with Detective Schmidt? He gave us an update on his investigation into the missing person, shared the details of that he's learned since he was involved. Did you have the opportunity to review anything in addition to having the conversation with Detective Schmidt? Yes. I was able to review an audio recording of Brian Walsh's interview. And after having this meeting and reviewing the recording, What did you have the opportunity to do next in your investigation?
For anyone that's just now joining, I just did the intro, so you haven't missed anything. Okay. So this is an old hearing. This is this was to determine the defense filed a motion to try to limit some of the digital evidence. And so they had a hearing to discuss this. I have the link to this full hearing. So Law and Crime has this video from, I think, May. So that's the date that's on. Let me look at it exact. It's 6 months ago. I want to say it was May. I could be wrong. Y'all know me and dates. I want to saw when I went and looked at it, I thought it was like May of this year. So I don't think this information came into, but I kind of tuned out with some of the experts. So I mostly watched the testimony from the people that knew Anna, because I wasn't able to watch everything. And so y'all can let me know in the chat if some of this did come in, but the details of how and why certain evidence did and did not come in.
After doing the review of the recording and being updated on all the information that Cohasset PD had at the time, myself, Trooper DeChico, Detective Schmidt, Detective Lieutenant Lopes, and Sergeant Hunt proceeded to 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset.
About what time did all of you arrive at that address?
I believe it was like 6:30 p.m.
And when you arrived, was anyone leaving?
Yes, there was a female party leaving as we came up to the door.
And do you understand what her relationship was to the family?
I do know, yes.
What is it?
She was the babysitter for the 3 juvenile children.
And after seeing this woman leave the residence, did you discover who else was in the residence at this time?
Yes.
I thought it was so interesting. And I think there is evidence that we did not hear. So there were probably interviews that were not used and things that did not come into the trial. I don't think the babysitter or nanny, I don't think they testified at all. And that there's nothing wrong with that, but it was just interesting that their testimony, from what I can remember, I don't think they testified at all.
Within the residence, we were able to meet with Brian Walshe, his mother, Diana Walshe, and there was 3 juvenile children inside as well.
Now, in that evening, did you have the opportunity to conduct an interview with anyone at the Walshe residence?
Yes, I did.
Who did you initially get the chance to speak with?
Initially, I spoke with Diana Walshe.
And Diana Walshe is Mr. Brian Walsh's mother, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Where was your conversation with Diana Walshe?
My conversation was in the living room area where the couches were situated. There's also a fireplace there. It is right off the kitchen area, separating the dining room area by a staircase set and a wall, I believe.
And was there anyone with you to help conduct this interview?
Yes, Detective Lieutenant Lopes of Cohasset PD was present with me.
Where were the other officers at this point in time that arrived with you?
The other officers were speaking with Brian Walshe in the dining room area portion of the home.
And was anyone else with Mr. Walshe besides those officers that you know?
Just the 3 officers that arrived.
Where were the children when you initially had the opportunity to speak with Diana Walshe?
Upon her request, the children went upstairs in the main portion of the home to the 2nd floor.
Now, can you explain how the initial conversation, what occurred during your initial conversation with the defendant's mother?
Yes. As we sat down, Diana was asked to provide her date of birth and the phone number. She initially ignored my request and was texting on her phone. Follow-up request was also momentarily not addressed or not answered. She then advised us that she had utmost respect for what we do, but she only has 1 son, and she was very adamant in helping find Anna.
Did she say what she was?
I thought that was interesting. So the fact that she was just asked her birthday and she ignored that question. And once again, so I personally, because there's a lot of speculation, there are a lot of rumors. I don't think Diana Walshe had anything to do. I think Brian. I think something happened between Brian and Anna. That's my own personal thoughts. And at the end of today's stream, I'm going to give an update on the Reiner case, and then also the dad that took his kids on the hike. I think it was Utah. I'm going to give an update on those 2 cases because more information came out with one of, so I'm just going to give more information towards the end. Okay. But I wanted to get through some of this because I hadn't heard this before.
Was doing as far as trying to find on?
Yes, she stated that she had Googled, researched a top PI firm, private investigation firm in the DC area, and she had been communicating with the owner / CEO of the company.
And did she give you any contact information for that person?
Yes, she provided both a business line and a private cell phone number for the individual.
Now, did she have the opportunity in this, during this conversation, did she tell you what had occurred with her son's cell phone as far as January 1 and January 2nd?
Yes, during this conversation, she advised us that on January 2nd, Brian Walshe showed up at her home in Swampscott and advised her that his phone was missing and that he needed to use her device to communicate or try to reach Anna.
And once again, so I don't think any of this information came in. And we will talk about the sentencing being moved to Thursday. The chat is amazing. So Denbin 8530, I had not heard this. And so I do have an article pulled up from NBC Boston. And so we will definitely take a look at this. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's keep it going.
And did she show you anything from her phone during this part of the conversation?
Yes, she showed me her call logs as well as text message communications that were documented on her device.
And when you saw this, did you see the names of any of, not asking the specific name, but did you see the names of anyone in the family?
Yes, there was a name associated with a juvenile child, the eldest, that was documented as a missed call.
And did you ask her about whose phone number that would be?
Yes, I did.
And what did she explain to you?
She indicated it was the 6-year-old's phone number as saved with the name in her device, and that she had purchased all the three of the juvenile children, cell phones, Apple AirTags, and iPads.
So, because somebody had mentioned in the chat that Brian's mom had purchased AirTags for the family, and I didn't know where they got that because I hadn't heard that anywhere else. And so it was just, I got to hear that here in this hearing. Hey.
How long were you speaking with Diana Walshe before any of the children returned?
I would estimate it 15 minutes or so.
And which child did you wish to speak to?
The oldest 6-year-old child.
And was that one of the children that returned at this point in time?
Yes, it was.
And did you have the opportunity to speak to the oldest child?
Yes, I did.
Can you explain to us what occurred as far as that conversation?
Initially, when the child presented to our presence,
So I'm going to slow this part down to normal speed. Okay, so I'm going to slow this part down to normal. All right.
we, myself and Detective Lieutenant Lopes, asked him if he was willing to have us ask him some questions. He shook his head in the affirmative without giving me a verbal response. Diana, at that point, asked him to sit on her lap while we held the conversation.
And so right now they're thinking they're dealing with a missing persons case. And it is interesting to me personally because Brian's mom comes off, and I do not know her. I do not know this for sure. This is speculation from the internet. She comes off controlling, and the fact that she had the child come and sit on her lap, I wonder, so if that child had been told, oh, remember when you saw mom leave? Remember when mom left in the taxi? Remember when you waved at mom? Like, I wonder what things had been told to that child. Memory of children can be very suggestive, very, very suggestive. And that's why even forensic interviewers have to be careful when asking children questions. So if I ask a child, hey, did this happen? And they say no. And I'm like, wait, but did it happen? And they say no. And I ask him, but did it? So if I keep asking a child the same question over and over again, they may change their answer just because they think they're giving me the wrong answer. And so that's why how children are asked questions are very important, is very important. And the defense is going to bring up the fact, so he's not trained in asking children questions. And but once again, at this point, it's just a missing persons case. So I think that's why they just let they kind of went along with this.
And we proceeded to ask him some questions.
And what did the oldest child tell you about about what he remembers of the last time he saw his mother, Anna Walshe?
What the child stated was that the last time he saw his mother was surrounded around the events of him hearing a noise, waking up, coming downstairs, and seeing her on the couch underneath his blanket, which he left in the room overnight. She was dressed in a set of pink pajamas with red hearts. And as he was walking by the kitchen island, he saw his iPad. He picked up the iPad, recognized that it was malfunctioning or broken, not working properly, and he requested that his mom, Anna, fix the iPad for him. Once she fixed the iPad, he indicated that Anna went upstairs and changed into her real clothes, returning back downstairs, holding a brown duffel bag, approximately 2 feet in length, and a purse, which he gestured to her wearing on her shoulder. He then stated that her taxi was here. He told her, "I love you." She responded, "I love you more." And she walked out the door to her ride. When asked if he saw the vehicle, saw the headlights for the vehicle, or saw her get into the vehicle, he stated he did not. Those are strictly his speculations. Obviously, he didn't use the word speculation, but.
So the saddest part about this part is that we know that none of that is true. Now, that might be a memory from another day, from another time, but we know that January 1st, that did not happen. We know that for sure. And I'm glad that the children's victim impact statements are going to be sealed. And it's interesting that they're trying to put off sentencing. Putting off sentencing may impact the children's permanency planning, but it might not, because he's already been convicted of first degree capital M, and all that he's been, what he admitted to, they might still be able to work on terminating his parental rights in family court. And then they might look at permanency, like where are these children going to be long term, and what's going to be in their best interest, and they'll be able to look into that. So I hope that any potential delay doesn't put off their permanency. And somebody mentioned in the comments of, I think, because I did a short the day that the verdict was the day that the verdict came in, and I do have hope for these children. These children do have a hard road ahead. They are going to be aware of the charge against their father, because in order to do a victim impact statement, you have to know that your dad was found guilty of hurting mommy, at least minimum. Did like they have to know, or like mom, daddy was found guilty of somebody has explained to them on their terms. So you use child language, you don't give them more information than they need. As they get older, it will be appropriate to give them information that matches with their level. And then if they ever find out information, that's when, you want to make sure that you're having those conversations. Some Allison mentioned, Brian Boone could have fought to have her parental rights terminated. And it's my understanding that he has chosen not to. I believe his lawyer let them know that he could. So Brian Boone is being very kind. He's kinder than I am. And it might be because he has a relationship with his son. And there might be a small part of his son that wants some, I don't know. So I don't know what that's about. Tanika's 2 cents, and we are all going to get together, and that's already scheduled. So Tanika's 2 cents, Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, and Paul from Reporting Live from My Sofa. All 4 of us are going to get together on New Year's Eve and do a stream. And I'm pretty sure Tanika is probably going to talk about, answer any questions about Sarah. But she covered the family court information. She actually has footage from family court over on her channel. Okay. In this case, because the mother is deceased and the father is going to spend the rest of his life in jail, they will have to figure out permanency, and they will likely terminate his rights. He might sign over his rights willingly, but he'd probably want to sign them to somebody he chose, and he might not have that option. So sometimes the state gives that option. So I've worked with people that were in foster care and children that were in foster care. I've also worked with adults that were uh I've been on both sides, from the parent involved with the system and then also the child that was placed in foster care. And uh and I've been a part of termination of parental rights hearings. It's never, so I don't do parenting capacity. So there are psychologists that evaluate somebody's capacity to parent. And sometimes that comes up in court. I have done general psychological evaluations. I have been the child's therapist or the parent's therapist, or sometimes I've had to give recommendations, talk about what I've observed, talk about those things. But yes, I'm super excited about New Year's Eve. And I'm going to do a members only live before that stream. And I have a poll up. So if you're a member, make sure to answer that poll of what your options are. All right. What your preferences are for that day. New Year's Eve. I'm gonna be hanging out with y'all. I'm excited. And I'm trying to schedule. Okay. So Natalie Lawyer Chick has confirmed that we can collaborate, but now we're trying to work out schedule. And my schedule is more flexible than Natalie's. And so once that is scheduled, we are looking to do a collaboration, and I'm hoping that happens. Somebody asked for Natalie to come into the big group, and I was like, no, I want to talk to Natalie all by myself. I was like, no, like I just want to talk to Natalie. I don't want to share. Okay. Like, no, I want to be able to chat with Natalie Lawyer Chick all by myself. Cause I think I want to talk about the Diddy documentary. I'm not going to watch it, but I have questions for her, and I might talk to her about something else. So we will see. Let's keep this going. We took a little break, and he's talking with the child about his memory of, I think, what this child has been fed, because we now know it's all lies. What this child, and it's not the child's fault. This is the adults have, in my opinion, manipulated this child's memory, and that is unspeakable. Okay.
And how did the conversation end with the oldest child?
I had a question for him, asking, does he know where his mom, before I was able to finish that question, Diana became animated with her arms since he was sitting on her lap, flailing her arms in the air. I stopped abruptly, being interrupted by her gesture. She finished the question for me, stating cell phone.
So he was trying to ask the child, do you know where your mom is? Or do you like something? I think he was trying to ask the child something like that. And Brian's mom interrupts and is like, do you know where mom's cell phone is? But that was not the question that he was trying to ask the child. Ay. And the children are seeing all of these police. They're seeing all of this happen. And this is not good for the kids, in my personal opinion.
The child never answered my intended question, which was if he knew where his mom was, nor the question that Diana finished. He strictly said that mom wanted him to move to DC to be with her. He abruptly got up off of Diana's lap and ran into a different portion of the home.
And did you have any further conversation with the oldest child?
Yes, I did.
And what was that, sir?
At one point, a little bit later on, he returned to the area where myself and Detective Lopes was standing. He opened the door slightly, just wide enough to the basement that he could fit through. He took a step onto the first step going down into the basement, looked back at me, extended his arm, and I told him that he shouldn't go into the basement on his own, realizing there were child locks on the door. Then Diana also opened the door all the way and grabbed his hand and told him not to go down there.
Did any of the children ever give you anything that night?
Yes.
What did they give you?
The eldest 6-year-old boy gave me a little art piece that he rendered.
Now, how long were
I think that was the same child that made Jim a necklace. And so I hope he's still doing art. Art can be very healing. There are art therapists. So they have a degree in art and they have a degree in therapy, and they learn. So just because a therapist uses art in session, that does not make them an art therapist. So I sometimes have clients use art techniques, but I am not an art therapist. Art therapy is like play therapy, where you can get specific training, you can get certifications. And so art therapists get really extensive training in art and then also therapy, and that can often be helpful. Play therapy, art therapy, that can be really helpful for kids, especially when things happen and they're very young and they might not have the words for it.
you in the home speaking to the oldest child and Diana Walshe?
I would estimate it to be 45 minutes, maybe more. There was a lengthy conversation in our presence in the home.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, we left off, I believe, the conversation had come to an end with Diana Walshe and the oldest child. What did you do at the house after that?
I waited for the other officers to finish searching the home for the missing individual, to include the attic.
Why was the attic significant to you?
It had not been searched, and in my
I'm gonna speed him up just a little bit, okay? Because we want to get to the point where he talks with, where they talk about the digital evidence.
experience with other cases, we have had located individuals in crawl spaces and attics.
What types of cases are those, sir?
Death investigations.
And more specific, though, when you found people in crawl spaces.
So it was at their own hands. I'll speed past that part.
Did any of the police officers attempt to verify that?
Yes, Detective Lieutenant Lopes, having
I think they're talking about the iPad.
been provided with the phone number for that device, called the phone, and the phone rang, verifying that it is, in fact, the 6-year-old's phone.
And where did Detective Lopes get the phone number from?
Our conversation with Diana Walshe, when she showed us the call logs, the phone number was provided.
Do you remember what the phone number was for that device?
Not at the top of my head. I know that it most likely ended at 8028, possibly.
And did you write that anywhere in any of your reports?
Yes, I wrote in my interview report.
Would that, looking at that report, refresh your recollection as to the number?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Sergeant, I'd ask if you could look at paragraph 9. Look at it yourself and look up to the number. Like recollection as to that phone number.
Yes, it does.
We're gonna give the
All
phone
right,
number.
now you want to give it a shot.
Yes,
They're
617.
gonna give- just give them the phone number.
It was not, no,
Was it left where was it left then?
in the vehicle.
Now, this is Thursday, January 5th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, I'd like to, that night, besides looking in the Volvo, did you find anything else as far as cell phones that night?
No, I did not, no.
Okay. Now, I'd like to ask you now some questions about January 6th, Friday.
Yes, sir.
Did you have the opportunity to contact anyone who was representing Mr. Brian Walshe?
Yes, I did.
Who was that you were contacting?
I contacted attorney Tracy Minor.
And I believe that was his attorney from the federal case, the federal fraud case, because I think they were concerned that there might have been some attorney-client privilege on a device or something. So, and he's going to get into it, but I believe this is his attorney for the fraud case.
Why were you contacting Tracy Minor?
I wanted to communicate with her and get consent for the devices that belong to Brian Walshe and his juvenile children that were being utilized.
And what was your understanding of Tracy Minor's relationship to Mr. Walsh?
My understanding was that Tracy Minor was representing Brian Walshe on a criminal matter out of federal court in Boston.
And when did you start communicating with Attorney Minor?
I began communicating with her in the afternoon hours of January 6th. It was during the 3 o'clock hour, I believe.
So this testimony is going to let us know why we only had information from Christmas Day. Why? Because the defense harped so much on why that they didn't do a thorough investigation. Why didn't y'all look before December 25th? And they were really upset about why they didn't look before December 25th. And we're going to get some information about why. And that did not come before the jury or that. Yeah, the jury won't know this information, which is okay. They don't need to know, but it was just, as a true crime person, it was just cool to see this. Once again, this is a pretrial hearing because the defense was trying to limit the data from the phones and the iPads and everything.
And how were you communicating with her?
Via cell phone call communication.
Do you know roughly how many phone calls you had with Attorney Minor?
I had numerous communications, to the best of my estimate, probably three phone calls.
And so what did you ask Attorney Minor in the first conversation, if you remember?
In the first conversation, I identified myself and asked her to provide consent for Brian Walsh's phones. At that point, I had knowledge of at least two devices, the one that was missing, that was located on the second, and then the 6-year-old cell phone.
Okay, so to be clear, you say the one that was missing that was located in the second, who did you believe that cell phone belonged to?
Brian Walshe.
And the second device, what was that device that you were concerned about?
That was a device that contacted Diana with a missed call on the call log, and it was also now present inside Brian Walsh's vehicle in the SUV.
What did you say to Attorney Minor that you wished to do to these devices?
I stated that we wish to do a full system extraction, phone dump, more commonly used as a phone, known as a phone dump, of those devices for digital evidence data.
And what reservations did Attorney Minor express to you in the first conversation?
She stated she needed to talk to her client, and she would call me back.
And did you explain anything else you were looking for at this point?
And if Brian had known that his computer synced with the 6-year-old's iPad, he would have declined this request. He would have had his attorney fight it. He wouldn't have told her why, but he just would have said, we should fight this. Okay. But he wasn't aware that the iCloud account that's just how Apple is. Everything syncs. So I'm currently on my Mac. I have my iPad, but there's a different Apple ID because this is my work. So I have a different Apple ID for some devices. But if they share the same Apple ID, everything syncs. Okay. Well, we'll keep it going.
Point in time.
No, I did not.
So how long did it take for Attorney Minor to contact you back?
It was somewhere between 5-10 minutes, maybe a little more, maybe 15 minutes, but I did receive a call from her within a short period of time.
And what happened in this next phone call?
She stated that it would be fine they would consent to the extractions. They just wanted it documented, and she requested a documentation to be generated.
And was there any limitations on the digital? Was there any limitations on what you were allowed to look at?
Yes, it was communicated verbally in our agreement that we were not to look at attorney-client communications prior to December 25th, 2020.
All right. So he's about to get into the December 5th date. Why? So Anna's phone probably had a different ID, but we don't know for sure. I don't know. I don't know if that ever came out for her phone. If there was a different Apple ID. I don't know, but I think it was Brian. So Brian's MacBook and the kid's iPad, I think, had the same Apple ID. That's my understanding based on what I've seen. All right.
2, and no communications between Anna and Brian Walshe prior to that date as well.
So this is why we didn't see communications between Anna and Brian before December 25th. And I wonder what happened. I wonder, and they can't, like legally, but I'm curious minds. And if there was anything in there that would have helped the defense could have done their own phone extraction. And he could have said on December 2nd, there's this text that will definitely help me. But if he wants to go back to December 2nd for him, the prosecution is going to want they're going to want a full record. Remember, I'm not a lawyer. I just like true crime. So if the defense wants back to December 2nd, then the state is going to want a full record during that entire time. They're not going to let the defense, like, we can only look until the 25th, but y'all can pick and choose whatever things y'all want. And so the defense didn't pull anything before the 25th either. But I wonder what was in there, why he said nothing before the 25th. I've also seen an article, or it was an interview with Anna Walshe's mother. So Anna Walshe's mother made a statement that Anna wanted her to come as soon as possible. And they instead planned for Brian, Anna, and the kids, I think, to visit Serbia in February. Anna Walsh's mom was like, I'm 60, like she couldn't come as quickly as Anna wanted. And that's where I wonder if Anna was looking to leave. Because why was Anna like, I need you here? Like, was she getting the courage to leave? Those are my own personal thoughts. I don't know if that's true.
Besides those two issues, was there anything else that you were not allowed to look at when you spoke to Attorney Minor?
No.
Did you tell Attorney, and so during this conversation, was there mention of any other devices you wish to look at?
Yes. After we made the agreement for the 2 cell phones mentioned, I also requested that the iPad, which we knew was manipulated by Anna prior.
Well, so that was Brian's story. So Brian's story with the kid, so the story was Anna had touched the iPad January, and it wasn't true. But they want to see if that's recorded in the iPad, because every time you touch it, it's already, every time you move it, I don't know, like everything tracks us. And so they wanted to take a look at that data.
Her leaving the home would also be included within the devices that were consented to.
Did you explain why you wanted to look at that iPad?
I did not know.
Why did you want to look at that iPad?
Well, if Anna manipulated the device and fixed it during the time frame that we were advised, there would be a digital footprint on the device documented that manipulation.
And to be specific, what iPad are you referring to that Anna manipulated?
It was the iPad that the 6-year-old saw on the island as he came downstairs after hearing a noise and waking up, and he picked it up and had his mom fix for him.
Why was that footprint significant to you in your investigation into the disappearance of Anna Walsh?
It would have really narrowed down the timeline of when Anna left the home. It was in a short period of time after the device was manipulated that we were told Anna got dressed and left the home.
Had you had any access to that iPad before this conversation?
No.
And so when you were speaking to the oldest child, he never showed it to you or anything like that?
No, he did not.
Okay. Now, besides the 2 areas that you had agreed upon with Attorney Minor, which was attorney-client contact and anything before December 25th with the defendant and his wife, she asked for what?
A documentation of the agreement that we verbally discussed and agreed upon.
That was smart.
And what did you do to document the agreement?
Communications were had with Norfolk District Attorney, First Assistant Lynn Beelan, and she drafted an email including those specific restrictions of the full data extraction, digital evidence analysis in an email form, and sent it to Attorney Minor and CC'd me on it as well.
What memory do you have of expressing these concerns to First Assistant Beelan at the time?
I do not have a memory of communicating with First Assistant Beelan.
So do you know how First Assistant Beelan knew to send the email?
I do not know.
Okay, so I just thought that hearing was very interesting. It gets a little, so he's gonna be cross-examined. I don't think the judge had any questions, and there wasn't a decision during this, but we know what was allowed in the trial. Because once again, this was a pre-trial hearing, and I do want to talk about Brian Walsh's reaction to the verdict. And so Kim asked a question. Was wondering if you could analyze Walsh's behavior during the verdict. I saw a few things you had mentioned in a previous maybe talk. Oh, they open the mouth to slow maybe emotions. So, and I meant that with Jim. So I know Jim opened his mouth a lot to hold back emotion. Maybe we can watch that again. Let me find that video where the verdict is being read and we can watch it together, regular speed. Sorry, that's court. If y'all heard that, I heard it in my ears. I don't know if y'all could hear it. It's court TV. So let's hop over to court TV to see the verdict. Okay. And talk about his reaction. All right. So let's watch.
Matter of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walshe, Norfolk Superior Court Criminal Indictment number 2023-0091.
Okay, so I saw that kind of opening. And so anybody would be stressed in this moment, okay? This is understandably a stressful moment, okay? And so the fact that he opened his mouth there, I'm trying to fix my view of which one I like. It's this one. I like, I don't love that one. Trying to find which one I like. It was this one. There we go. So he kind of opened his mouth a little, but once again, this is understandably an anxiety provoking situation, and he's trying to manage his reaction in this moment.
As to count one, wherein the defendant Brian Walshe is charged with murder in the first degree, what said the jury? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty of what, sir?
Murder in the first degree.
Murder in the first degree.
So, and a lot of people have talked about that nod. And for me personally, I don't know this for true. So this is all speculation. It was interesting that in the defense's closing that they tried to make Brian this loving father, loving husband. Like he loved her so much. I don't know, like they tried to almost make him the victim in all of this. And so with the nod, I was wondering if he was expecting it because he never thought he was going to get a fair trial or a fair shake at things. And like, of course. So I don't know that nod was in agreement. We'll never know what that nod or like, okay, like, so I don't know why he did the nod in that moment. It does seem like he struggled with his mental health, supposedly. So let me pull up that article and I'll make sure to update the description later. Thank you to the chat for letting me know that sentencing has been moved. So they might have a hearing on Thursday, and if the attorneys are bringing up his competency again, they might go back. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so you all can see it. So we all know he was found guilty and he's now convicted. And then let's get to the point. He did not testify. I have a whole video where I talked about that. The defense denied that he did the thing. Her body was never recovered, which breaks my heart for the closure for the family. Where? Oy vey. Sorry. Where's sentencing? Because the article says, so it's been pushed back from Wednesday to Thursday. So that's the only update we have. Okay, so let me try to see if I can find some more reporting, some different reporting that might have more information. Brian Walshe, because I want to see if they're raising competency. I don't know if they are or not. Sentencing moved. Let's see. Because I know he had the competency hearing back in November. Because that's NBC Boston. I already covered that one. But it looks like sentencing has definitely been moved to Thursday. I don't know why, okay? So sentencing has been moved. I do not know why. It could be a scheduling thing. I do not know why. I did see that article from Boston Magazine on Brian Walsh, and that was the article I mentioned, um, I think it was the Secret Life, uh, article, because I saw the interview first. I saw the interview first. Yes, it's The Secret Life of Cohasset con man Brian Walsh. Let's accept these. So, if y'all would like a good read, okay, this is where we found out more information about his like kind of when he would try to have these fine dining events, and he sometimes like wouldn't pay the bill in full, and he seemed like he wanted to be known as this like, this foodie, and he wanted to know all the chefs, he wanted to know all the sommeliers, like it seemed like he was very concerned with appearances, which would not shock any of us, and that at times he would make it seem as though his mother's house. So his mother owns like a $6 million house. He would make it sound like that house was his house. So he would have people drop him off there, and he would let people, oh, like go ahead and take me home, and have them drop him off there, thinking that was his, but it was his mother's house. That was the house that I think him and Anna moved in with his mom after they got married. That did not go well, and they eventually found a rental. And I talked a little bit with Courtroom Confidential about the infantilization of Brian Walsh. These are my own personal thoughts. I don't know this for true. It seems like he never really grew up. And there can be this thing where especially I think the mother, Brian's mother, I don't know if she ever got over Brian's dad, the neurosurgeon, leaving her, not only leaving her, but also leaving her for a man in the 80s when like things were very like that was probably very taboo back in the 80s. And she probably blamed a lot on dad. She probably, I don't know, like, but then I don't know if Brian almost became her world, her everything. I can't live without him. And but that's where I wonder if Brian's mom was almost jealous of the attention and love that he kind of had for Anna, but not really, because I think he was nicer to his mom than he was to her. Because Brian constantly wanted Anna to affirm that she loved him. I didn't hear him saying, and that's what the friend said, the friend Alyssa. I believe it was her testimony that he was constantly asking her if she loved him, but he didn't tell her that he loved her, and they and so all right. You mentioned that YouTubers talked about it, and so please make sure. So I haven't seen the reporting on why court was what was moved. Um, I don't have access. Yeah, so I haven't seen it, but it just seems like he never grew up because I don't know why he had a nanny. He had very long periods of time that he could be out of the house doing whatever he wanted to like pick up and drop off the children. He had these huge periods of time that he could be out. And he probably was telling Anna that he was starting a business and that he was doing these things and he needed, I don't know. And she might have felt more comfortable because could you imagine Brian? Like you're in DC and Brian's in charge. Like it might be nice to know that there's like, somebody else making sure that everything is correct. These are just my own personal thoughts. We don't know this for sure. I have heard about the letter that Brian Walsh's mom made, and then also the letter that even Anna wrote in support of him. I think Anna never thought that he would carry and drag out his federal sentence for so long. Emily D. Baker. If you missed Emily D. Baker's stream from today, at the beginning of it, she talks about Brian Walsh and how because of the state crime, the state charges, because so federal jail for fraud. Now you don't do crimes, don't go to jail. But if but like federal fraud. Like, he should have just went to jail for the federal fraud. If all of this was to avoid jail time, this was a very bad decision. And over on Courtroom Confidential, Josh asked me why I thought Brian was excessively Googling and just like, oh my, like, why? Like, I was like, shouldn't somebody know some of these things? And honestly, I think he was trying to get away with the perfect crime. But the more he Googled, the more guilty he looked, in my opinion. New I'm late to this case, so you probably already know, but his family members said that he was institutionalized for mental health. This was brought up during probate. So he's been asked if he's been diagnosed with anything, and he said depression. So I do think he has a history of depression, but I wonder if he gets depressed like when he doesn't have, I hate to be like this, but what I'm saying is when things aren't going his way, I wonder if that's when he feels like when he's caught, like when he's about to face consequences, is that when he gets really depressed? And also, if he does claim competency right now, and once again, I don't know, I haven't confirmed that that's what he's done, he would go to mental hospital. So the mental hospital is likely nicer than the state jail for the murderers. Like, not saying he's doing it for that reason, and they would assess it and see what's going on. He probably took being convicted of first degree pretty hard. Even the state seemed to be surprised. I think the state said during their press conference that normally a no body trial, like they're hoping for maybe second degree, but it's the strength of this case and his ridiculous behavior trying to get away with this crime, going to the Lowe's that was an hour away with the mask, but like they tracked him. They tracked everything. They found everything. I think this investigation was pretty thorough based on what I saw. I know different people can have different opinions. And so it was in that article that someone labeled him a sociopath. And so, okay, so that's where, and that's not a clinician diagnosing him with that, but that's just, he seems like a con man, the type of person that would take advantage of people and almost maybe think it was their fault for leaving themselves open to it, which is a lack of empathy, a lack of consideration for others. So if I was walking behind somebody in the store and they dropped $100 bill, I'd be like, excuse me, and I would give them back the $100 bill. Now, if I'm walking down the street and I find a $100 bill and nobody, okay, I'm gonna put the $100 bill in my pocket. But if I know whose money it is, so there have been times that I left my credit card at a gas station, or I left my credit card at a restaurant or something. ADHD. That was before I knew I had it for sure. And I would have to, and thankfully, somebody turned it in. Somebody, the attendant didn't use it, and I was always able to find it, and everything was fine. Um, uh, and so I'm not the type of person that would take advantage of other people, even if I could. That's just, I'm a very conscientious person. He is not. So conscientiousness is where like you want, let me just, sometimes I lose my words. Because one of my professors described me this way. And so conscientiousness is awareness of ourselves in the world. And it's kind of like another word can be like just being a self-awareness, awareness of others. And so no, that's just, yes. But yeah, I was described as a conscientious person, and there we go. So conscientiousness. And so it's wishing to do well. So I always want to do things well. That's always my goal. But because I don't live in the state of perfectionism, I do have a good enough, or else I would have way too much anxiety if everything had to be perfect. I would never go live. Y'all would never have any videos if it had to be perfect. Do you have any thoughts on people who believe that is justifiable? Like if someone's cheating or leaving a relationship. And I'm glad the jury still convicted, even if they were able to look back at the because the defense asked them to look at the messages between Will and Anna. So the person she was having the affair with, they wanted them to look at those salacious texts that we did not see. And to me, my thing is just leave. So there is a case where, and so it kind of gets into that moral question of when are things justified? And that's where it's going to be up to a jury of your peers to decide. So that's where I personally, so if somebody hurt my child, I would want to protect my child and I would want that person to have justice. I wouldn't need to be the person that delivered that justice. Now, if we're in a situation where that person is trying to harm my child and I have to subdue that other person, or maybe I accidentally like hurt their arm while I'm trying to subdue them or something. But that's just my own personal thing. I know lots of people have different thoughts on that. That does bring us up to the hiking story. So there is a story out of Utah. I did another video covering it where a father, horrific story, took his 3 young children. The youngest one was 2, and he took them up this very difficult hike without proper gear, without what they needed. There is a recent video that has come out about him being pulled over by police the week before this. And he makes some very distressing statements. And so I will go on ahead and I'll get ready to play a little bit of that. This is the story. The children survived, miraculously. I think the oldest child was around 8 or 9. They had to perform CPR on their 4-year-old sibling because they sustained a head injury and their body temperature dropped dangerously low. And that child, I think, is still in very critical condition. But let's see. Sorry if you could hear that in the background. Let me switch views and get this ready. All right. And so let me change the view. There we go. All right. So this video is through Long Crime. It's Dad Charged in Hike from Hell. He was confronted by police officers a week before, and they actually took his weapons. He made some very concerning statements, and his behavior is very bizarre. There may be a mental health defense that comes into this trial. I don't know if there will be. And I do think because if I was on a jury, his behavior is inexcusable. Like it is, but I haven't evaluated him, but I could see a defense looking at potential like mental health issues. Let's go on ahead and play this. Trigger warning. He is going to allege that his wife has been cheating on him, and he's very erratic. But
it's on police body cam footage.
Okay, so that's not the one. Okay, so let's start from here. They talk about it first. So he's pulled over. So his truck is on the side of the road, and he's pulled over because he doesn't have tags, and the car is registered, and he doesn't have a driver's license.
About securing weapons and ensuring safety.
Where's your firearm? Don't reach for it. Where?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back a little further. Sorry about this. All right, let's go back a little bit further. Sorry, I did not get the exact space before. Let's see.
Prior, starting at the beginning of this footage, the officer approaches a white GMC truck with no plates, parked awkwardly on the side of the road. Right away, Smith acts defensive and confused, and he mentions intending to drive up to the top of a mountain, a statement that alarms the officer.
Yeah, I'm just going to hike, man. I'm going through a really hard time. Can't even believe. My wife's cheating on me. She didn't come home till 7 o'clock. I have 3 kids.
Firearm's not to go under, is it? Or him? You're not going to take care of Sancho?
No, I'm hiking up to the top of the mountain now.
Today?
today.
You know it's snowing up there, right?
I know.
Oh, really?
I look forward to that.
You're going to.
No way, man. No way.
I'm just making sure these are
I got
things
too
that we
much-
deal with.
Yeah, no, I got too much work for man.
Okay, I'm happy to hear.
So they've redacted portions of this video.
You got through very crazy hard time.
And I'm not here to ruin it for you.
And so the officer ends up taking his weapon, and then they end up talking with him outside of the vehicle, and everything is just very strange. Everything is just very, very odd to me. Okay, we're gonna play from about here. I will link this video, or you can go check it out on Law and Crimes video to watch the entire video.
Give me a second.
Is it your truck? Yeah, that's mine. Not really. Is anything ours? Are you the registered owner of it? I am. Kind of. Honestly, I was just going on hiking. Going through a lot of personal things. And now it's like it's now 10 times worse now. As he does it. And what's going on? What's going on? A lot of personal. Yes, my marriage is ending of 13 years. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, dude. Worse than that. You got somebody to talk to? I got staying with my brother right now. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a serious question. You want to hurt yourself? Do I want to hurt myself? No, I want to hike until I can't hike no more, though. I want to get.
So that's an odd statement. Do you want to hurt yourself? I want to hike until I can't hike anymore. It's very alarming. It's very strange. And for me to say like, hey, I could see them potentially bringing up potential mental health stuff. And when somebody, and so I don't know if he's paranoid. So I don't know if the wife really did have an affair, or even if she did, and he's in a mental crisis, you don't harm your partner or the children. You just don't do that. And all right. And so Stephanie, this is just a safe place where people can ask questions. And I think it was just a general question because there are some people that believe like if you find out somebody, like if you find your spouse in the act or something, like there are some people that have been like not charged with a crime or the jury has found them not guilty, or they found them guilty of manslaughter or something less because of the situation. And so I thought it was a reasonable question. I make sure to always answer reasonable questions. So at this point, this was a week before the incident where he left the children. Okay. So he was pulled over by the police and his weapons were taken. He had a pew and at least one, there might've been, I'm not sure, but he had an axe and something else. And they were concerned about his mental health. He does call his brother. And I believe, and he says in this video that he's staying with his brother right now. And so I think there was something going on between mom and dad. I do not know if we know who called the authorities to rescue the children. All right. And so, all right. So that was the update with that case. And then with the, all right. So Nick Reiner was arrested in the death of his parents. So Rob and Michelle Reiner. And this is just very, very sad. And so trigger warnings for substance. He has acquired Karen Reed's lawyer. Y'all know I'm bad with names. Let me know the lawyer's name in the chat. Y'all are the best. But he does have a lawyer. I believe there was a press conference. I have not been able to watch the press conference yet today. Alan Jackson, thank you. You win. Oh no, Laura, you win. I saw that one first, but y'all both and Phoenix too. So thank y'all in the chat, Alan Jackson. And they may bring mental health in as a mitigating factor. And when I say mitigating, it does sound like he had relapsed. and that the parents were doing the best they could to support him. And something happened. There was an argument according to what's been reported, there was an argument at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party or holiday party, and something happened at home. I've also seen reporting that there had been damage to guy had been up for days because I think he was on substances. And also, I don't know if he has any other mental health conditions, because there are some mental health conditions where people can stay up for days. And so I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this case, and I will be following it. His arraignment, it's my understanding, because they were going to have his charges today, but he was not medically able, and I don't know that we've seen what that means yet. Let me see if there's been any reporting that I missed. And so, because I know he was not able. Okay, so I see from 37 minutes ago, charged with 2 counts of first degree, but I saw something earlier saying that he was not in a space he was not medically cleared. So Alan Jackson told reporters Tuesday morning that he was not medically cleared for transport to the courthouse, which might mean that they still deemed him an imminent risk to himself or others. And so I don't know if they made a way for him to appear via video. I'm still catching up on this. Y'all know I am a full-time clinician and we are getting into the holidays. And so I'm helping my clients before I take some time off. So I will be taking some time off this Tuesday stream. Unless something major, I might do a pop-up live, but I don't have anything scheduled until my next scheduled video, let's see, will be the New Year's Eve streams. So December 31st at 3 p.m. Eastern, I will be going live with Tanika's 2 Cents, Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, and Paul from Reporting Live for myself. The 3 of us will be going live. Really excited about that. And we will talk about the top cases of the year. I also have a members only stream scheduled for that day. And just keep an eye open for any pop-up stream. We're gonna have a blast. Bring your tissue, because I'm probably gonna laugh so much I cry. I'm probably they are so much fun. I love collaborating with them, and I am super duper excited. If you didn't catch Emily D. Baker's stream today, she had a really great moment of when you watch true crime, you have to be careful to not lose hope and faith in humanity, because right now true crime is just popular, and just watching, and we want to understand the why. Our brains naturally want to protect us, okay? And some things happen, and they're literally, unfortunately, I'm sorry for this, but maybe it can give some people some peace, that there can definitely be red flags. And that's where I want to use my platform to educate people about coercive control, about red flags in relationship, about no matter how safe you think a relationship is, if you're planning to leave, have a safety plan, no matter what. Because sometimes when a person plans to leave or exit a relationship, sometimes things can really escalate. And so that can often be one of the most dangerous times. I really like sharing information about setting boundaries in healthy ways. And so I hope anybody that has medical procedures, anybody that has things coming up, if you celebrate anything this holiday, I hope everybody has Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And if it's just Happy December, I hope you have a great December. I will probably have a live, maybe New Year's Day, about just starting the new year fresh. 25 was tough. Let's say, let's give 2025, I don't know how your 2025 had a lot. And so New Year's Day, I will probably do a stream. Let's go ahead and schedule that for 2. So I'll probably do a 2:00 stream on New Year's Day, specifically a mental health live, just talking about New Year, Any resources? Let's start out fresh. Let's leave 2025 and let's start over new. And if all you did in 2025 is survive, I am so proud of you. If all you did was get out of bed, you took a shower sometimes, you made sure to eat most of the time. I don't know. Whatever you got through this year, I am so proud of you. Keep going. If you need support or resources, I always have information for how to find a therapist down in my inbox, now down in the description inbox. Ooh, what in the world? I always have that there. This community is phenomenal. I originally started this channel to do general mental health education. I did not start my channel to talk about crimes. I didn't do that. The Amber Heard trial, I was like, "Ooh, this is fun." And I got into following these cases. I don't follow everything. I don't cover everything. Lisa will tell you. Lisa sends me so many cases. Lisa, I adore you. And thank you. Because sometimes I do pick up a case you send me. Sometimes I just can't. So there's some things that I choose not to talk about. I choose not to do. And anytime I do cover something, I try to see what can we learn from this? How can we grow? Because this channel will never be about understanding criminals. No. Like, there will always be somebody that like is trying to get away with something. No. How can we be safe? How can we create community? How can we, heal? And that's what I want to share. And I try to help us understand and break down anytime mental health does come up in a trial. I just want to help explain some of the mental jargon, some of the terms, the words, and give you all my thoughts on cases. And so thank you all so much for being here. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all those good things. I adore you all, and I will see y'all New Year's Eve. Have a good one. Bye.